Hello my loves and welcome to the Capricorn season astrology reading. I've pulled a few cards and would love for you to just take a moment with me to breathe as we enter this reading. I feel like there are going to be some, maybe not hard messages, but digestible truths that are still hard pills to swallow. So yeah, maybe some hard truths, maybe some hard things that we might be encountering together. And one of the best ways to encounter difficult things and confront hard situations is to first regulate our nervous system. So let's begin by taking a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose slowly. And out through the mouth. In through the nose one last time. Filling up your lungs, your belly. Letting your shoulders lift and separate, holding it at the top, setting an intention to be open to receiving these truths, and exhaling with a deep sigh. Maybe shaking it out a little bit, because that's what the body needs. We sit in so much tension all the time. We sit in so much fear tension about money, and fear tension about bad things that might happen, and fear tension about what our day may hold. And right now, if you're here, what you're not doing is thinking about anything else. What you're not doing is trying to be anywhere else. What you are doing is just letting yourself be here right now. As I get into some late 90s, early 2000s dance moves. I know you can't see my lower body, but I'm about to start doing a little cabbage patch or something. Letting myself loosen and open up, which I don't normally do right at the beginning of readings. Sometimes we'll do take a few breaths after we've started, but it very much feels like my body is so grounded and so kind of buzzing but present right now. That's where we want to be when we are encountering hard things. And this might be a hard truth. Ooh, and I see it already. Ugh, gross. Ew, hard truths, hard pills to swallow. Ooh. The first one that jumps out at me, and I'm using the Voyager Tarot, and I'll show you because I've gotten a lot of people, after seeing me use these cards, have bought these cards and love them. If you are a visual person and you appreciate the practicing of developing your intuition through the art of seeing a symbol, seeing something visual somewhere and going, ooh, I know what that represents, and that means the message is this. I highly recommend the Voyager Tarot. So first card we've got is Devil's Play. And sometimes I'll look at this and see different states of sort of coming outside of yourself, or maybe doing something that is different from what you would expect yourself to do. And I mean different from what you would expect yourself to do in possibly an integrity breaking way. This is what I often see, and what I'm definitely seeing now is the understanding that you have been using substances, either mind or body energy altering substances, and haven't felt good about the long-term effects. Maybe they've made you feel good, and this is why we always use them, right? They made me feel good right now, but what you are seeing is that you have returned to something that you said that you were done with, or you started really getting into that like awareness phase of, I don't like how these substances have been abusing me and I really want to make a change. This is the sign that you need to tell you it's time to make a change. I personally was done using marijuana and stopped using it for a while, had even transitioned to smoking Delta 8 so that I could have something that was a little bit more body oriented and less like sort of numbing experience oriented, because I wasn't using it for the right reasons. I was in a state of avoidance, of really checking in with myself and relying on marijuana to be the thing that forced me to check in with myself, or forced me to be aware of certain things, as opposed to developing a practice of presence. And since I've been sober from it, I would maybe smoke here and there, like with friends while hanging out, like a once a month thing, if that. Recently, I've been smoking. I haven't been smoking like daily like I was before, but I'll like take a hit or two, every day, every other day. And it's often because as somebody who has ADHD and maybe is even on the autism spectrum, I feel like connecting with other people is one of those things that compels me to use certain substances. So like, I'll only drink because my partner's drinking, or only smoke because my partner's smoking. It's one of those like, I'm a social smoker or I'm a social drinker kind of things. And it's not a good excuse. It doesn't feel good to use that as an excuse, and I can tell that it's affecting my body in a way that pushed me away from using this substance before. And I'm loving that this card came up, and also I'm like sweating heavily because I know that that means that I need to essentially detox again, and that Capricorn season for the next month from December 22nd until January 22nd. I know that we're past December 22nd because things happen. But we have the next 4 weeks ahead of us to really acknowledge that substance story, and to not only create a new one. Here is the Eight of Wands, the Harmony card, which I feel is sort of like a magnetic reality card, where it's like if you start playing a tune and you get into a certain frequency and a certain tone, and then you become open to the spirit of whatever that tune is saying. If you're in a tune of abundant compassion, like my Sagittarius season check-in video was talking about, if you are in tune with the energy of grief and allowing yourself to grieve and being compassionate in that way to yourself, then what you're going to attract, what you're going to magnetize to you, are other spirits who want to create not just a safe environment, but a harmonious environment for that story, the storytelling of that tune to play out. It's sort of like Capricorn season is going to be the optimal time to allow yourself to feel deeply, completely, fully, whatever it is that you've been putting off feeling. Which, with the time-space card, is reinforced. There's this sort of strength in numbers message that's coming through, and also the capacity for us to, the ability that we have to transcend the limits of time and space. And I know that's kind of like whoop, 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 but to bring that down to earth, the ability for us to transcend the limits of what we think we need when we are grieving, what we think we need when we are in celebration, what we think we need, the amount of time that we think that we need to like get over things or to get through things or to activate certain beginnings or to round off and to close certain ends. The amount of time and space that we think that we need for those kinds of things is going to be compressed and compacted, not in a bad way, not in like a, you know, I'm just trying to get it over with. Let me just do it so I can get it over with kind of way, but in like a, you know, now that I've really allowed myself to do it and I've released resistance to doing it, what I've created is sort of like a portal, which is a porthole in time when I go through it, and I have when I've noticed that like, oh yeah, this porthole's been here, and like I just haven't, you know, I just haven't entered it, and I've been holding off on doing it, I've been resisting it. When you finally do it and you finally go through it, it becomes a portal through which things happen so much faster. And when you finally accept that you need help, that you need support, that you need other people around you to make whatever you want done happen, it starts to happen faster. And not because you want it to happen faster, but because you wanted help and you asked for it and immediately received it by virtue of your spirit being open to receiving it. So if you've been trying to like do something big that feels too big for you, this is the time to ask for help. And also really truly let down your resistance to receiving the help and to receiving the support and to other people creating a space in which you can do that thing, especially if it's grieving, because we all feel like we're burdens to other people when we're grieving and when we're going through poo-poo things. We don't want to share poo-poo things with other people because we know that they're going through poo-poo things. We don't want the poo-poo to rub off on them. And yet the poo-poo things are so much gentler on us, are such tender experiences when they are shared with other people, when we do get to experience the benefit of the softening, which is being surrounded by people who love us and are willing to carry some of that weight for us. Such a beautiful message. I love that for Capricorn season. And I also love that we've got all of these other messages. Oh, I'm going to cry. Yeah, because the cards that I've pulled from the Threads of Fate Shadow edition of their Oracle deck, which called to me in an Instagram ad, of course, and I saw it and it said Shadow edition, and I was like, yes, give that to me. That was perfectly advertised to a me who is into shadow work and spiritual growth and personal development. And aside from all of those sort of like flashy phrases, witnessing myself and everything that I've been through and everything that I am now going through, and becoming a kinder, softer, more compassionate version of myself toward myself. Yes, please. I'm on the edge of tears, like reading this. And of course, the first card that we have is Shadow, because one of the hardest things that we have been going through as a collective, as a generation, for millennials specifically, because I'm a millennial, that's the generation that I feel that I have the best capacity to talk to. But if you're not in the millennial generation, it doesn't mean that I'm not connecting with you right now. It just means that I'm speaking to my own personal experience, and an experience that I feel is shared with a large lump of the population. What we've been experiencing is the sort of upside down effect of, you have to protect your energy, and yet you have to be open to everything. You have to be suddenly aware of all of the shit that's been going on in the world that has now become your responsibility. You have to deal with a post-quarantine world, a post-academic push world where suddenly, student loans and the amount, the investment in a college education, not just doubled or tripled, but is I think 1,200% more than it was when before our generation started going to college. And yet, while it's just like a big old burden, you have to spread your wings, and you have to go off, and you have to be an adult, and you have to be successful as an individual. You fucking capitalist piece of shit. You. Okay. What I'm seeing here is we've had some really conflicting messages, and not just conflicting messages, but conflicting experiences of we were the first to be technologically savvy in our families, and now we are seeing how technology is brutalizing the workforce in which we were guaranteed access, to which we were guaranteed access. We are seeing how all of the things that were made important to us, or all of the truths that were shared with us, all of the beliefs that were shared with us and touted as truths, as general overarching truths to us, are now falsehoods and make no fucking sense. And all we want to do is wrap ourselves in warm, weighted blankets and be by ourselves all day. We don't want to work this hard. We don't want to have to do that much. And if you're not a millennial and this resonates with you, it's because you're living in the same world. It's because you're living in the same capitalist, white supremacist reality in which old white men have access to everything, and their children are the only ones who have continued perpetual access to everything. And the only strain or hurt that they have to deal with in their world is the weight of the expectation and the obligation to continue to maintain a closed door access to everything, which is a lot. Let's regulate again. In Capricorn season, we feel this a lot because the holidays remind us of the ways that we have also, not just on a grand scale, but on a very personal scale, been experiencing these two realities of, I grew up experiencing this one thing and now something else is completely true. I was raised with people who, didn't necessarily abuse me outright, but were abusive insofar as they kept me from living a happy life by virtue of assuring me that the only way that I could be happy was to live a capitalist, white supremacist alignment life. We are butting up against coming home to those families who have been foundations and pillars for us, and who may also, for many in the millennial generation, be the place that we had to go after we achieved university degrees, or the people that we had to start supporting immediately after, because they gave everything for us to get those university degrees. We may be experiencing that our foundation, our family foundation, is a shadowy place for us, and something that we feel that we owe our energies to, and also do not have the energy for. We have no way to cultivate the energy. We have no strength. We have no other foundation from which to pull strength. And this is why in Capricorn season, it is time for us to find our strengths elsewhere. It's time for us to create new pillars of support. And like I said, with the Harmony card, engage with other people. Find other people who are soul family and can be that chosen family who not only supports you in a material way, but supports you in a spiritual, mental wellness, emotional healing kind of way. And I'll give you an example. I came home to my parents after earning my degree, finding a job that aligned with what my degree wanted me to do, but didn't necessarily align with what I really wanted to do. Went off into the world, broke and feeling like I don't know what my purpose is. Came back to the place where I was raised to serve at a nonprofit for 2 years, and then ended up at my parents' and thought I was going to be there for a year or two, build a trailer home so I could travel the country. I had all of these big ideas. 5 years later, I still felt like I was being supported and pushed out at the same time. And the material landscape of that time, of like money being the ever-present thing that I was striving for, not my purpose and my passion anymore. And it was, but it also didn't feel like something I could share with my parents, because it didn't feel like the thing that they wanted to hear. It felt like the thing that they wanted to hear. And this is my own assumption that I'm making from my belief and my own perspective, from what I experienced, was they don't want to hear about the purpose and passion that I'm finding in putting myself essentially through business school and through coaching school and through all of these different things. But they wanted to hear how I was making money. There was also this sort of negative support, which was, we think that you need a little bit of a push to go off and be on your own again. So we're going to start having you pay rent. And instead of saying, what do you need to help you get your dreams started and to help you activate the things that you really want to do so that you can feel good when you leave here, it was, here's the thing that we can think of, which is money, more money. Money is the activator for the generations that raised us. And again, I'm talking about and to millennials. And if you feel the same way and you are of a different generation, then let me know in the comments. I would love to know who else is watching these and who else is listening to these and resonating with what I'm saying about the sort of intergenerational play that's been happening here. Because it really feels like the way that I got support in that situation was draining as opposed to uplifting and energizing. I met my partner, my current partner, who I've been with for almost a year now, moved in with them very quickly. It just felt like we were better together. And that was because the support that I was receiving with him was not, what do you need to do to start making money? It was, what do you want to be doing? What do you really want to be doing? And over the past few months, we've been sort of chipping away at, well, I feel like I need to be doing this, okay, but do you want to be doing that? I've convinced myself that I do want to be doing it, and that's because the initial reason was that I needed to be, there was something in there that I thought that I needed. Okay, so I don't have to do that. Yeah, no, you don't. In fact, don't do it. In fact, stop doing it. What do you want to be doing? I guess I don't know. Okay, let's figure that out. The support experience was no longer draining and making me doubt myself. The support experience that I started receiving was energizing. And the people in my life who I've built friendships with and relationships with that feel familial to me are energizing. And this is what Capricorn season needs to be focused on, is building upon foundations of support that are not draining but are instead energizing. And allowing your roots, these are tender, tiny, frail, fragile roots here, to wither and die. Maybe not uproot yourself from the family structure immediately, but let a few things wither and die. And by that I mean, start setting boundaries, not just for yourself, that you speak to others. Hey, I'm gonna, I need you to do this thing. Not necessarily that. More boundaries that you speak with yourself is, I am not going to do this thing. And if they ask me, I'm going to start saying no. Or if they ask me about this area of my life that they are always and consistently poisoning me with doubt and poisoning me with shame or with guilt whenever we talk about it, I am going to decline access to them draining my energy in that way. I'm going to set my own boundary and change the conversation and talk about something completely different. Or just say, I don't want to talk about that anymore. Changing the not just the way that you engage with the people who have been draining your energy, but also accepting that there are other people out there who love you and support you already and want to see you fucking thrive, and not just get caught up in the, I don't know if y'all can see this, but the bat is wrapped up as though folded and sleeping, and also has the wings out. It's both. That's why I was doing the I'm explaining it a little too late, but but the people who don't make you want to hide away as soon as you come out, and as soon as you reveal your true self, and as soon as you start talking about things that are hard for you, who make you feel like I'm actually being heard and not just a problem to solve, or not just being given a quick fix so I can get over it. Because I feel like that's another thing that I personally was told quite a lot in my upbringing. The people who really love you and respect who you are don't want you to just get over it. They want to take your hand and they want to walk with you through it so they can understand you better, and also because they have compassion for you. Because they see that you're suffering and they know that the suffering is much less painful when somebody's along there with you. That understanding and that level of support is so energizing. And Capricorn season is this window in which we get to really take stock and not only activate those boundaries that I was talking about, but activate more closeness with those relationships, and maybe not going to holiday engagements just because you feel obligated. Not doing the things that you feel like you have to do, but the things that you really want to do. Setting up a Friendsgiving, which I even hate using that word because Thanksgiving is such fucking bullshit, but setting up a friend gathering, a soul family gathering, in which you can really embrace each other and engage in that gratitude for the energizing support that is there. The last card is the Fate card. And I feel like this one has come up because we, during Capricorn season, transition from one Gregorian calendar year into another. Now, in astrology, this ain't the end of the year. This is just the middle of a season. This is the middle of, this is the middle of winter right now. I don't understand why they made it this way, other than, all right, Jesus, Christianity taking over and becoming more important than being attuned to the actual seasons. Because if we were attuned to the actual seasons still, then spring would be the beginning of the year, wouldn't it? So the energy that we feel sort of in the middle of Capricorn season, or almost right at the beginning, is that we have to decide our fate, and that our fate is very fragile. And if we don't set intentions, then we are going to waste the year ahead. But also there is this sort of preciousness with how we treat our intentions, because we often fail ourselves. We often disappoint ourselves with the intentions that we set at the beginning of the year. Let me see if I can do it with these fingers. Why am I? Oh, there we go. Oh, because I was mirroring the grasping here. The beginning of the year. We often disappoint ourselves with the way that we don't follow through and don't feel necessarily like the version of ourselves that's pressured to make resolutions at a time in winter when so many people that are not necessarily for us have just been touching our energies. Now all of a sudden I'm in the middle of clearing all of those feelings of other people's expectations and hopes and dreams for me, which is actually just shame and doubt and guilt and blame that is hidden and veiled. Now You want me to tell you what my resolutions are? Now you want me to tell you what I want the next 12 months to look like for me? Bad timing, bro. This card, the fake card, is coming to remind you that you are the only one who is in charge of your fate. You and the source of abundant love are in charge of what's going on. Get to have a say in what intentions you set and resolutions you make. And if you and Sal have a conversation and it doesn't feel right and you don't feel ready yet in the middle of winter to activate something, if you start to feel like this is a season of rest, if I were really to let winter be what it is and just hibernate and dream of what the year ahead could be like, and not necessarily write it down or make any promises to myself, then that would take a whole lot of pressure off of starting before I'm ready, or feeling like I need to activate in a season of rest. And I think there's another layer to this. I think we're often so afraid that we are going to break fate, that we are going to destroy all of the good things that we are destined for if we fuck up and we don't follow through on our resolutions and our intentions. We feel like time is passing so quickly, and here again is like the time-space message coming back around to give us another like little something to chew on. We often feel like if I don't do this now, then I'm gonna miss my chance, or I'm gonna run out of time, or this is one of my greatest fears. And this is something that when I was a part of a women's circle and we would burn our dreams and fears in ceremony with each other every week, this would be on my list of fears almost every single week. Was I'm afraid that I'm not moving fast enough. I'm afraid that I'm not doing enough. I'm afraid that I am never going to actually achieve all the things that I want to achieve, because damn, if I don't do it now while I'm young and I have the energy to do it, then when is it going to get done? But also I'm so bogged down by financial burden and by thinking about it. I feel that. I feel that spiral into insignificance and into telling myself the story that what I'm doing isn't enough, and that what I've achieved isn't enough, and that I am a disappointment and a failure if I haven't done certain things by a certain time. I feel that. But we have to give ourselves time, because the world that was created by white supremacy is not going to give it to us. Is not going to encourage us nor invite us to give ourselves that time. So the time that we do have, we have to make it our own and not think about what other people are going to say or what other people feel like they need from us. I need you to be here at Christmas. What are you saying that you're not going to be here? I have other things that I want to do with my life. And what I would love is for a day off to be playing Dungeons and Dragons with my partner all day, which is what we decided to do on Christmas Day. All day we are playing D&D. And the poor guy, being my DM, is gonna need a break. But that's how we decided to do things, and we told both of our families, and we particularly with one family, got some pushback. And the great thing about having, here it is, about having people who support you in a not draining way, in an energizing way, is that they will always fucking back you up on creating the life that you want for yourself, that you really want for yourself. We love, my partner and I, we love having each other because now we get to actually have the stupid holidays that we've always dreamed of. Not feeling obligated to be around other people, but to live it our way and to practice new traditions. That excites me. That makes me feel so thrilled. There's a thrill to taking something that feels like it's always been in somebody else's hands, my fate, what I'm doing, what I have to do. Taking that and putting it back inside me so that nobody else can touch it or get to it. Only me and the people who support me, who have access to my energy but don't take from it, only do so with the intention to be reciprocal or give more than they get. It's a beautiful thing. Only me and we, and that we, can create the life that is being designed as we go. And it feels so good to know that I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do. This Capricorn season, I hope that you take the I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do, and also there have been some things that I haven't wanted to do that I know that I have to do, but it's because it's going to be good for me and not because it's an obligation to anybody else, like grieving fully or celebrating yourself or really diving into a relationship that feels nourishing for you. I hope that you take that and you reparent yourself and you familiarize, a little family pun there, familiarize yourself with what it feels like to support yourself and be supported in that uplifting, creative, harmonious, energizing way. Because Capricorn season, Capricorn is represented by, not the ram is Aries, but I think a goat. It's something else that's a little bit hard-headed. And I think the last part of the message here, before I pull some cards for more nervous system regulating practices and some affirmations that you can carry along with you to align with these messages, I think the last of the sort of cerebral, emotional messages is you have a right to stand up for the life that you want. And you also have the right to feel good, even if that makes other people feel bad. Just because other people, your parents, your family, your boss, just because they don't give themselves permission to live the lives that they really want, or feel like they are only worth something if other people are around to say yes to the obligations that they create for others. Oof, ouch. Just because they are that way does not mean that you have to follow in their footsteps, nor do you have to appease them. I'm gonna pull some cards. I'm gonna pull some final cards. One of them is from the Super Attractor deck, which is full of affirmations, and I think those are going to be great words for us to live by as the month continues. But then there's also the Hack Your Nervous System deck, 60 evidence-based practices to help alleviate anxiety, reduce stress, and retrain your nervous system. Somebody got this for me for my birthday, and it was one of the best birthday presents that I've ever received. Because it's just got a ton of, like it says, evidence-based practices that I use whenever I need to face challenging things and face difficult conversations and go in with that hard head of, I have decided that no matter how you feel about it, I am going and I am resolved to going and living my life in the way that I have described, that I have defined for myself. So let's get some practices that we need for Capricorn season for making these changes. Thank you. We've got 2 of those. Ooh, and they are both grounding because Capricorn is an earth sign. We've got the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding, and we've got the finding ground. So I'm going to read finding ground first. Lie on the floor, and you are welcome to do this. While this is happening right now, you are welcome to actually do this practice. And pause the video if you need to, so that you can really soak it in. Because I'm sure it's probably a little triggering to hear that, like, got some changes to make with substances, with supportive relationships. Got some changes to make. Finding ground. Lie on the floor or sit comfortably in a chair with a supportive back. Gently draw your attention to the texture, temperature, and quality of the surface beneath you. Become aware of what it feels like for your full body weight to be completely, reliably, and safely held. Ooh, this is exactly what we needed. Allow yourself to become a little heavier, softening your muscles, your skin, and your bones into the supportive surface. This is another good one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding. If you wanna stay where you are and you wanna keep the finding ground experience going, just go ahead and pause the video. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding. Identify 5 things you can feel, 4 things you can see, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. Notice what you are aware of when you finish. And it also says, remember, the more details you can identify, the more grounded you will become. These are not just what I call Band-Aid practices, which is when you are feeling overwhelmed, you sit and you ground and you feel the floor and you allow yourself to ground and you start to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 identify a bunch of things. They can be used that way, but I don't recommend it. These are intended to be practices, which means, you know, if you have a softball game, you are not just gonna go out on the field the day of. and know how to catch a ball or know how to hit the ball exactly at that perfect spot. You're not going to know how to do that. So why would you expect yourself in the midst of conflict or confrontation or chaos to be able to do that and hit a homer? It's not going to happen. Practices are things that you do habitually. It's like going and playing catch in the yard. You have to build that muscle memory. You have to build that nervous system memory of, this is a safe place that we've traveled to before. When we've laid on the ground or when we've identified 5 things, this has led us back to a safe place within ourselves. And if you want to have an actual visual, if you're a visual person, you want to have an actual visual for that safe place within yourself. That is what I lead people to in the wandering, which is a meditation. It's both a visualization meditation and a grounding journaling practice for you coming back home to yourself. And in it, there is another practice, which is sort of a mental exercise that you can do with yourself that allows you to come back to and return to the most grounding, the most resonant, the most compassionate way of treating yourself and the most compassionate words that you could be speaking to yourself. So if you would like a visual place to come home to so that when you are grounding, you can actually go to that place, then go and check out my website. It's toward the bottom. It's going to say wandering, and it's, again, a meditation that once you have access to it, you can use it forever and ever, and you can use it over and over and over again. But also the prompt that is in there is something that you can use every day without really having to think too hard about it. I have this one trick that I use that every client and person who has ever been a part of the wandering has told me, oh my gosh, I used that today and I just felt so calm and centered. If you would like some other level of grounding and you love the connection that I provide here, go and check that out. But these are meant to be practices that you practice all the time and not just pull out when you absolutely are in dire need of them. So be sure that you give yourself as much as you can give yourself now, so that as you continue on your journey, it doesn't feel quite so hard. It feels like, okay, I've done this before, I've seen this before, I don't need to, like I said, to try so hard. Oh, we got a lot of affirmations, and some of them aren't even really affirmations. One of them is a card that was given to me by the person who gave me my Hack Your Nervous System deck. So thank you, Stephanie. Here's my St. John's wort, and I'm just going to read what it says because I feel like it has some kind of message on here for us. A famously magical plant in European tradition, St. John's wort was once believed to ward off lightning, witchcraft, and various kinds of evil. Wort is the Anglo-Saxon word for plant. It was one of the plants that was passed through the smoke of midsummer bonfires on the eve of the feast of St. John the Baptist in order to protect people, houses, and cattle from witches and fairies. The flowering tops give a blood red color to oil in which they are steeped, and this oil was used to relieve skin inflammation and promote healing of wounds. The plant causes the skin to become sensitive to sunlight, so grazing animals may develop dermatitis and inflammation after eating it. Current use, the potential value of St. John's wort as an antidepressant is a modern discovery. St. John's wort has proven for me to be not just an antidepressant, but something that helps to ease the depths of feeling when I am in a place of deep grief and deep sadness, when I had to make the decision to help my dog pass over because he was suffering a lot. I started to take St. John's wort in capsule form, probably twice a day. If not like 2 capsules a day, then sometimes 4 capsules. Just so that, and my dad too, because he loved my dog, and we were both in the dark place for a long time with that. I think this came to those who may have the issue of not wanting to give up your substance. Might be aware that there is substance use and abuse going on that is abusing you, and you're not maybe quite willing to give it up altogether yet. I think St. John's wort might be a good transitory herb that you can use in lieu of the substance that you're already pretty ingratiated to. I think it also is for those of us who, like I was saying, need to grieve and haven't given ourselves the time to do so, because it's also a great tool for that. So St. John's wort, thank you for coming in as a message. Here are the affirmations, the actual affirmations. I don't know why I leave this card in with my affirmations, but it's like sometimes I just need it. Sometimes I just need that reminder of, hey, you are allowed to, not just affirm things mentally, but like affirm that like you're feeling things, and it's okay to get help. It's okay to have that sort of easing into. And I hope that message rubs off on you. So, we've got some very differing hued affirmations here, and I will read each one. There is a stream of love supporting my dreams. I feel like this is for all of us. We need to hear this. There's a stream of love supporting my dreams. Sal. Good old Sal, so the source of abundant love, reminding us that our dreams are worthy of being supported, not in a draining way, but in an energizing way. I love that. I love that for us. And here is another reinforcement of that time-space card message that we got. I release time and let the universe show me what to do. I release time and let the universe show me what to do. I don't have to figure it out right away. There is no ticking clock on me figuring it out. There is just me letting the universe do that work. And in fact, it already knows. It already has the answer. I've just been fighting myself and resisting the receiving of it by trying to figure it out all by myself, but you are not by yourself. This is another thing that I said in the Sag wrap-ups video, is you are not by yourself. You are not a singular entity. You are just multi-dimensional. And if you don't believe that yet, I hope that you stick around so you can keep learning what that means. Last affirmation. True manifesting is about receiving what is of the highest good for all. True manifesting is about receiving what is of the highest good for all. And sometimes that means receiving what is of the highest good for you, knowing that it might hurt others right now, but eventually they will take it as a sign that they can give themselves permission and encourage themselves to find their own highest good too. Okay, another shake it out. Another little shaky wakey moment, because that was a lot. As we've got one really loud automobile running by. Okay. How are you feeling? Let me know in the comments. Would love to hear how you're doing. If you would like a card reading that is specific to you, also on my website is a space for booking with me so that you can get a nice, long, in-depth reading that will last you 6 months to a year. They are all recorded, sent to your email right after we are finished with the photo of your card reading spread. So if you're a visual person, you can look back and you can watch a video and you can kind of see all of the messages and come back to it in your own way, in your own time, when you need to hear things again, or you need to hear things again from a different perspective, from a different lens, and see it in a new light and understand it in a new way. This is one of my favorite offerings, is reading cards for people, because they get the confirmation of what they already know, the clarity of what they haven't been quite sure about but really needed to hear, so that they can walk away with the confidence to take action toward the life of their dreams, the life that they really want to create. And if you are trying to create a different life for yourself than the one that your parents dreamed of for you, or that society has made you believe that you need, and that you need to feel ashamed of, not being aligned with, if you're trying to create a new life for yourself in any capacity, get a reading. Book a reading or a clarifying session with me. Clarifying sessions are a lot longer, but they get us to like a whole different place. And give yourself that gift. Give yourself the gift of the clarity, the confirmation that makes you feel confident and makes you feel lighter and really sound and safe and secure in everything that you're doing, everything that you want to be doing. I love you so much. Thank you for receiving this. Thank you for being here. I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. Mwah.